Welcome, everybody, to Bracket Bash. This is the podcast. We take a bracket of 32, 64, 128, and more, and banter our way down to a winner. I am your humble of hosts this week, Freddie Fisher, and this is CJ.
Yes, this is. Uh, my brain's not working.
Let's say, forget who you are.
You bastards! Yeah. It's my birthday. Everything is sort of. Yeah.
Happy birthday, buddy.
And it's
Um,
on 422, so you kind of
yeah.
figured.
About every 7 years or so, it falls on Easter. So I've celebrated a lot of Easters with my birthday, and it was always cool when it was younger because you'd go to church and it'd be like your birthday and Easter, and you'd always get like extra candy or like extra crap. So
That and you get Good Friday off. Well, I don't know about that, but
yeah.
anyway, so let's try this again. Welcome to Bracket Bash, the podcast. We take a bracket of 32, 64, 128 or more, and banter our way down to a winner. I am your humblest of hosts this week, Freddie Fisher, and this is Birthday Boy coming on and joining his special day with us, CJ. How you doing there, sir?
I am awesome, brother. Glad to be here. Uh, Always a fun time doing the stuff that I love, especially movies and music. So
And all the way from the world of infernal roommates and people of that ilk, we have Angus the Death Hand, also known as David. David, how you doing there, sir?
Not bad, buddy. Chilling it up in a nice little hotel in Kentucky. Apparently, there's flood damage here. I've yet to see any of it, though. That's my thing.
Well, if it starts to smell like burnt toast, start running. This week we are celebrating Easter, and we are talking about movies that should never be remade. If you don't get the combination on that one, it's a resurrection joke. Bang. All right. It's not that funny, so I kind of figured out how to explain it anyway. There is a couple lifelines, and since there's only three of us on today's show, we get all three of them. Number one is, of course, blowing your load, and if you do happen to blow your load, you'll hear this sound. It's always a good thing to hear that one. But blowing your load, like always, we vote round robin style on this show. So if you're one of the first ones to go and don't want to be one of the first ones to go, blow your load. That means you're going last. If somebody else blows their load after you, you are no longer going last, but going directly before them, and so on and so forth till the end of the game. Sorry, this is good till the end of the game. Only one time though. Number one, steal a vote. You're allowed to steal one person's vote during the game as long as they are going after you and have not voted yet during your turn. Number three is pass the parcel. If there is any time during the show that you do not want to vote for any particular reason, and since there's only three of us, I'm going to have an unlimited use on this one. Call it an Easter gift for the masses, but the Facebook audience over at Bracket Bash, the audience vote, has been voting all week on this one as well. And you get to do it too if you vote on that one, but the audience gets their say. So if you want to pass the parcel, you can pass the parcel all the way up into the end of the quarterfinals, and I will give you plenty of warning as far as that one comes. Steal and pass are good up until the end of round 3 quarterfinals, but blowing a load can go all the way to the end. I get to start us off on this one. Movies that we do not want to be remade. Match number one, it is between It's a Wonderful Life or Home Alone. Yes, these were matched up appropriately together because they're both Christmas movies, so I wanted to remove that particular element. I did not randomize these. This was planned-ish. Between Home Alone, they've had remakes of these things, and they all suck. So that's kind of off the board. It's a Wonderful Life, to be perfectly honest. In December of this year, we are recasting this on the recasting call. So I'm not even saying that I wouldn't mind this movie to be remade, because I think it should be. So, with that, it's kind of the lesser of two evils. I'm going to be going with Home Alone, because I think It's a Wonderful Life should actually be remade. CJ, Home Alone, It's a Wonderful Life.
I think both of these would be fairly easy to recast. Of the two, probably Home Alone. Home Alone would be a little harder to recast. Joe Pesci's character is kind of different, and it's somebody that's very very hard to redo, or to copy or to imitate. Whereas Wonderful Life, you have a plethora of people like Nathan Lane and other people that could fall into roles that are along that line. So Home Alone.
Actually, I think the hardest person to recast in Home Alone would be Kevin.
Um,
And that's
I don't know.
mainly because there's not a lot of kid actors, not a lot of big kid actors anymore that
There's
does
there's
it.
a couple. There's a couple I could name that would be. He may be a little old, but
See, that's the point. Because Kevin, at the age of recording this, was like 10 years old.
yeah, I said the kid I'm thinking of. I think he's actually too old now. He would have been perfect at the time. He's the youngest kid from the TV series The Mick. Um,
Yeah.
he always played sort of that half psycho, half genius kid. So
So Home Alone gets to vote off of this one. David, Home Alone, It's a Wonderful Life.
Technically, Home Alone, it's been remade, what, three additional times already? Because Home Alone 3 is just another retelling of it. Home Alone 4 is just it's technically got the same characters, but so obviously it's Home Alone, but it's already been redone like three times already.
yeah.
I
Home
don't
Alone
count
3
last
was
week.
actually funny though.
What'd you say?
Home Alone 3 was actually pretty funny though for what it was.
Oh,
Is this
I
the
like.
one with the race
Yeah.
car?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that
the
one
parrot.
was. I mean, it wasn't as bad as 4 or 5, but like
Yeah, the parrot made it cute though because the parrot was funny. It's like Polly want a cracker, Houston. We have liftoff.
You're saying
anyway,
five.
David.
You're saying five's that Disney Plus one, right?
Oh, I can't remember. To be honest, there's certain memories I try to block out.
Yeah.
Those would be good ones.
So what's your final, sir?
Home Alone.
Home Alone. Times 3, 3-0. Home Alone gets to vote off of that one. CJ,
Let's
is
see.
it Nightmare Before Christmas or When Harry Met Sally?
Yeah, it's absolutely When Harry Met Sally because I have literally tried to watch Nightmare Before Christmas like 318 times, and I fall asleep every single time. Like that is just not a movie I can get through. There's nothing about that movie that appeals to me. Honestly, I never
So
want to see it again.
so you so the least likely of the two that you wanted the least one you wanted to
Oh, I'm
be
sorry,
remade.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
please. I'm sorry, I got that backwards. Please
No,
don't.
that's what I was thinking too. Because I'm sitting there going,
Yeah,
it's like, yeah,
um,
that's odd logic, but all right.
no,
David,
yeah, like please don't remake Nightmare Before Christmas because I was.
When Harry Met Sally or Night Before Christmas, there, sir.
Oh God, I mean Nightmare Before Christmas. I enjoy it, but it does not need to be remade. It doesn't. I'll pick Nightmare.
I'm gonna go with Night Before Christmas as well, mainly because I think When Harry Met Sally is such a classic film that it could be redone because it's timeless. Like you don't have to have the storyline itself is so absolutely timeless that it could go anywhere and be fine. Night Before Christmas, however, I wouldn't want it to be remade. I want a continuation of it. Like I want a Nightmare Before Christmas too, but more of like Simba's Pride type quality than like a Twist in Time quality. So if you're
Trying
gonna
to
go
remember,
on,
they did that movie like Frankenweenie or whatever. with the
Yeah, but
dog.
that's
Was that related to it, or is that just a separate?
there's theories on that. Theories that Frankenweenie, Corpse Bride, and Nightmare Before Christmas are all connected
Okay.
because of the dog.
Yep.
Uh, it's just it's the same
Yeah,
pairing.
I've never seen the other two. I saw the similarity in like style and whatnot, and like I
Yeah,
said, I want to like Princess or Nightmare Before Christmas. It's just every single time I sit down to watch it, I literally make it about 20, 25 minutes in, and I'm just
it's also Nightmare Before Christmas is also one of those movies that it's a cult classic by this point,
yeah.
and it gets hyped up all the way to the point that if it's not perfect, it's not good. Star Wars is the same way. If it's not perfect, it's not good.
I have
Die
never
Hard,
seen a Star Wars movie.
Die Hard is the same way. It's just if it's not perfect, it's not good because it's been hyped up so much
I like all
that
the Die Hard movies, so
it's just it is what it is. Night Before Christmas moves on 3-0 and another sweep to the next round. David starts us off. David, is it Galaxy Quest or Blazing Saddles?
I'll go Blazing Saddles.
No reasoning behind that. Just
I haven't seen either of them, to be honest with you.
really.
Yeah.
Um, there's a version of Blazing Saddles that you can watch with your son. The original version of Blazing Saddles, I would not watch with your son. Just saying.
Uh, which streaming service?
Uh, I think Paramount. It's either Paramount or Peacock. But the remake of Blazing Saddles is a cartoon version, and it's also done by Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks also voices the character in it, but it's called Paws of Fury,
yeah,
which is it's it's so stupid it's funny type thing,
right.
and it's made for kids, but it's something that adults will actually get appreciative. Blazing Saddles, I would.
Can I take back my vote?
Yeah, if you want to, it's fine.
And
We
maybe I'll take my Easter gift and not vote.
well, it's still going to go to Blazing Saddles, so
Fair enough.
but there's that one. I don't want to see Galaxy Quest remade because I just don't want to watch it again. But as far as Blazing Saddles goes, depending who makes it, because if you have like Blumhouse or uh, I don't know, Broken Lizard or something like that, people who don't care about being woke anymore, I would love to see a shot for shot remake with better graphics of Blazing Saddles be fine. But if a studio gets its hands on it that has people to pay off, I don't think Blazing Saddles would do well. Not in today's world, unfortunately, because people can't seem to take a joke. So I'm gonna go with Galaxy Quest on this one because I just can't stand that movie. Which means CJ, tie-breaking decision coming down to you: is it Blazing Saddles or Galaxy Quest?
I'm going to agree with you, kind of 50-50. My answer is Galaxy Quest because, again, like you, I don't want to see that again. But I would love to see a modern remake of Blazing Saddles with some of the really great people and some of the old people mixed in. Um, I would love to see it redone with like Ryan Reynolds involved. Can never remember his name. Doogie Howser, um,
Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris, um, Nathan Lane, just a bunch of random, really funny people. But I agree with you 100%. It has to be done like completely independently and by the right people. It can't be like a studio production, as witnessed by History of the World Part 2.
Yeah,
Uh, Even though Mel Brooks was involved with it, Wanda Sykes completely fucking ruined it. Um, she was just unbearable to watch, and like it was so horrible. Um,
I think if you
even
give
though,
it if you
Go ahead.
give it to like Seth MacFarlane,
Yeah, Seth
so
would be a great one. I, as much as I hate him, or let me rephrase it. As much as I don't like him as an actor, I think even Seth Rogen would do a really good job um, doing something like Blazing Saddles. Like,
I think if Seth Rogen did it, it'd be a little bit too raunchy. I think if MacFarlane did it, because if you remember the movie Million Ways to Die in the West,
yeah,
which was kind of a love letter to
right.
old spaghetti western type things. It wasn't a modern day western like Tombstone. It was a spaghetti western type thing. But he also had the comedy chops to and the lack of giving a fuck to pull off Blazing Saddles. And I think he could do it. By the way, Blazing Saddles. If you're looking for a recasting of it, we actually did that one on the recasting call too, as well.
I think
Drop
Adam Sandler wouldn't be like a terrible choice either. I think Adam could, you know, do something.
as far as the director goes, or an actor for it.
Well, either. I mean,
I mean, director maybe, but as long as he went with a completely different cast and crew than he has in all of his other movies,
I mean, I'd say half of his people would be good in certain roles, but half of them I would leave out. I would leave Kevin James out, and
have
you know,
Chris Rock as Bart.
yeah, he wouldn't be terrible. I was just getting ready to say I didn't like her what she did with History of the War Part Two, but I wouldn't actually mind seeing Wanda like ride in as the sheriff because she's just cranky and sort of crass enough to sort of put that twist on, you know, the sort of smarky type of character. Um, or even Chris Rock, or not Chris Rock, Chris Tucker wouldn't be terrible.
I mean, not nowadays, but especially considering the fact I don't think Chris Tucker would do it because he found God and now he's not going to make dirty racist jokes anymore. So
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that. So,
anyway, so your final vote.
Galaxy Quest.
All right. Galaxy Quest gets to vote, and the win off of that. When I start this one off, it's either going to be Rocky, the original Rocky, the boxing movie, or Princess Bride. The only way I want Princess Bride to be remade is if it is done with Muppets. And I
And
want to
maybe
die on this hill. I will die on this hill just for the simple fact that if they ever do Princess Bride, I want it to be the last episode of a hour-long TV show series that the Muppets remake old movies. Like that's so it's not an actual remake of the movie. It's a retelling. I also think Princess Bride would make an excellent Disney movie as a not really a direct caveat, but more of what Paws of Fury is to DreamWorks. I think it's DreamWorks. So kind of what Paws of Fury is to Blazing Saddles, but have a Disney version of Princess Bride. That is the only way. So, as far as Rocky goes, it's a boxing movie. It could be redone. It has been redone multiple times in a different way. Redoing the original Rocky movie, I don't really care about. So, I'm going to be doing a movie that I care about much and I don't want it to be touched is The Princess Bride. It gets my vote. CJ, Princess Bride or Rocky?
Yeah, it's definitely Princess Bride. I give it. I mean, Rocky's my is a tie for my favorite sports movie, along with Field of Dreams. But
Not Space
let's
Jam?
do what?
Not Space Jam?
Fuck Space Jam. Um, um, yeah. You can do Rocky. a million different ways, and it, like you said, it has been done a million different ways. Princess Bride is it's one of three movies for me that you know should never ever ever even be thought about touched as far as redoing it. It just shot for shot it would be character based. It would be near impossible to recapture that sort of lightning in a bottle that they had for it.
Princess Bride gets a vote off of that one. David.
Uh, I'm trying to think right now because I'm kind of curious to see what a Princess Bride remake would be like and what shouldn't. I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna vote Rocky. Oh wait, it's supposed to be what should not get a remake. So yeah, Rocky shouldn't get a remake. So I'm gonna go with Rocky on that one.
Yeah. Brad moves on 2-1 to the next round. CJ starts us off. It's either Shawshank Redemption or Titanic.
Yeah, we're gonna put Titanic in the same category as Galaxy Quest. Um, it's a movie I never ever want to see again. So Titanic.
I kind of feel that I feel the same way about Shawshank. To be perfectly honest, David Shawshank Titanic.
I know these two are tough because both of these are great. Um,
I don't know
I'll,
why Titanic gets so much hate.
I love Titanic, so
So do I. I'm a fan of the movie. Like it's people's like
Very
it's a
long.
well, yeah, but so is Shawshank, so is Godfather, so is Citizen Kane. All these movies that are supposed to be like, so is Lord of the Rings for God's sakes. They spent a
Yeah,
full
those movies.
24 hours in the series just walking.
I'll go Titanic only because I think Shawshank could be redone. I just think like every other conversation we're probably gonna have, it's just got to be done with the right actors and with the right director and everything like that. So I'll go with Titanic.
I'm gonna go with Shawshank on this one, mainly because I wouldn't mind seeing another Titanic done. I think the storyline was actually good, and there's got to be another person to see topless other than Kate Winslet. So that would be something to look forward to. Shawshank, I can understand why people like this movie, but it's nowhere near what the praise that it gets is nowhere near the praise it deserves. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So Shawshank moves on 2-1. Uh, David, I think probably the newest movie on this entire list is it American Pie or A Christmas Story?
I'm gonna go with A Christmas Story only because when I want to watch my Christmas movie list, when I go through it, I don't want to see remakes of it. So I'll go with Christmas Story.
Gets a vote. I'm gonna go with American Pie on this one mainly because I don't think that movie could be remade today because unless it was a timepiece. Imagine American Pie. American Pie today is the same thing what like American Reunion was. And American Reunion was only good because of the original American Pie series, and that's it.
Well, they're making another one.
And unfortunately, yes, they've made what 8 slices so far. It was 8 slices of pie. Then they stopped.
Well, I think there's
Yeah.
only five with the original cast. The other ones have been like, you know,
There's
necessarily count
four.
like band camp and
No, there's four. There's the first three. There's American Pie, American
American.
Pie 2, American Wedding, and then American Reunion.
Okay, and then this one's going to be American Funeral because Stifler's mom dies.
Aww.
So at least that's what Sean Scott says. That space
I'm
technology.
I am currently at editing. We did we just recasted Spaceballs. It's going to be out
Oh,
next month, but we just recasted Spaceballs, and Jennifer Coolidge got major conversation in that one. Spoiler alert: she's in contention for the role of Dot in Spaceballs.
okay.
And the really funny part is that Steven, who was a guest on our wrestling podcast a lot, he's been on Bastards a couple times too. But him and my co-host Kate both do wonderful impressions of people, and one they both do is, of course, Jennifer Coolidge, and they do it well. It's not like a joking matter, like the type of
Right.
thing like if they were on the phone with you, you wouldn't be able to tell that if it wasn't Jennifer Coolidge talking to you. Type
Nice.
thing. It's that damn good, and I was kind of surprised about it. Uh, but yeah, I don't see American Pie being remade. Period. I think
Yeah.
A Christmas Story being remade. I unfortunately think they would they'd add a lot more wokeness to it. Try to turn it into like a life lesson that isn't already the life lesson of the actual movie itself. So I'm gonna go with American Pie. CJ, finish this out. Is it American in a tie-breaking decision? American Pie or Christmas Story?
Um. Well, they did this sequel to Christmas Story, so it was. I've never actually seen the original. I saw the sequel. I actually really liked the sequel. Um, it's Ralphie's kids, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I'm gonna probably say American Pie because, yeah, they took for the most part, they took a bunch of people who were unknown actors and made them stars with it, you know, and that hasn't been done a lot. I mean, most movies are based on having big name actors in it, and other than Eugene Levy, there really wasn't.
Well, I mean, I don't think that was Sean William Scott's first movie either.
No, but they weren't like stars per se. They weren't like A-listers.
Wow.
There were no like real A-list people in American Pie as far as like a Ryan Reynolds, a Denzel.
Was I think that was post Buffy though, so I think Allison Hannigan
Right. I mean, she was
was
like the
still a
closest. Her and Shannon Elizabeth were like the closest thing to big stars. But as far as like, you
I mean,
know,
I'm not disagreeing with you at all. By the way,
right.
I personally think that you're right. But I mean, Eugene Levy it was definitely the main one that people would know. But as the original cast list, I think that it was just
Yeah, and
no.
Kevin because Thomas Nicholas he had done a bunch of kid movies.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the person I was trying to think of too.
yeah, he had done Rookie of the Year and
Mm-hmm.
that other base. He had done like two baseball movies. So I mean, you knew him as a kid actor, but not as a like, you know.
Somebody who's been trying to get laid through the entire movie.
Yeah.
American
Now,
Pie moves on 2-1 to the next round. I start this one off. It's either going to be Stand By Me or Pulp Fiction. On the same route of When Harry Met Sally, I think Stand By Me could be done again because it's one of those timeless films. And I think the entire main purpose of that is like you never have friends like the friends that you had when you were a kid. And I think that's a storyline that could be redone multiple times over and never really get old. So I think Stand By Me could be made very, very easily. Pulp Fiction, on the other hand, I think Pulp Fiction was a perfect timing when that movie came out, and I don't think you could recast that and do half as good as a job as the original. So I'm going to go with Pulp Fiction on here on that particular premise. CJ, Pulp Fiction or Stand By Me?
um, Yeah,
or a Lifeline.
yeah, I'm gonna go Pulp Fiction as well because I mean it's a Stephen King movie. We've seen Stephen King movies redone and redone and redone with you know dozens of different casts and be successful. And I think this is another one that could really easily be done. Um, Pulp Fiction, yeah, it's film noir. It's a lot harder to do. So
Say what? One more time. Uh, gets a vote. David, Pulp Fiction, Stand By Me.
So I'm gonna be embarrassed to say this again. I've seen neither of
I need to get you a list, sir. I really do.
them. Well, these are good episodes for the podcast. I can tell you that. So you know what? I'll just go the other. I'll do Stand By Me just because of what you were saying for the Stephen King thing. I kind of like the remakes and everything like that. So
I don't. I mean, I think I. I think we need to do that one of these days. As a bonus episode, I think we need to get movies that either you've done on like previous episodes for your show, and just have a tournament of those, or get a tournament of movies that like I'm going to get together with your wife and see if we can come up with 32 movies that you haven't seen that you need to,
32 movies that I haven't seen. Oh,
and
Pieces from 1982.
and then you'll have content for your podcast that you can find on the ABC Podcast Network. By the way, for the next like 3 seasons, just going through the list of stuff that you have not seen. Just
oh God, that'd be a fun
Yeah. My top two recommendations: Pieces from 1982 and Uncle Peckerhead from 2017.
I would go with the game. Uh, I can't remember the guy who stars in that one too, but the entire premise is that he thinks he's being stalked by somebody, but it turns out to be that his kids just couldn't find him a birthday gift, so they put him in this entire puzzle that he doesn't know that he's in,
Oh,
and
that
it's a
Hmm.
it's a mind fuck of a movie. It's
sounds like
Robert De Niro, I think.
okay. Sounds like something like The Cube or something.
I don't know. Hey Google, who plays in the movie The Game?
The game has a cast of more than 60 actors. Here are the first three: Michael Douglas,
Michael Douglas is the one I was trying to think of. Thank you, Google. Yeah. See, Michael Douglas is. I can't explain it. It's just going to be one of those movies that you're going to have to look up because it's a mind fuck of a film. Donnie Darko is another one too. It's just a mind fuck of a film to watch.
And Jacob's Ladder.
Jacob's
Jeez.
Ladder is another one too.
I have watched that movie like 14 times and I still don't know what the fuck that movie is about. That movie is just fucking. You're just watching this movie and you're just like, the fuck am I watching? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
Then on the flip side, there's movies like Ponyo that is absolutely fantastic. Ponyo is a cartoon movie.
Oh, I love Ponyo.
Okay. Um, so, and then again, I don't know the movies you have not seen those. So it's like going off of these movies that I would just randomly recommend people. 12 Angry Men is a fantastic fucking movie too. It's one of my top 10. It hits my top 10 list of all time.
Haven't seen the movie. I saw the stage production. So
I've seen a couple of stage productions, and there's 12 Angry Men. The reason that it's not on this tournament is because it has been remade in like '95. The original was like '57, and then Jack Lemmon was starred in the '95 version. So, but no, we're gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to. I think what we're gonna end up having to do is I still need to get you and Nancy on backstage. So uh, when we eventually do that, we're gonna have to come up between the three of us, come up with a list of like 32 movies that you have not seen, and then do a do a bonus episode though. So if we if we either want to put a special episode out on just randomly for whatever reason, or something happens where like we have tech issues and we can't do something, like my computer just fucks up like 10 minutes before the show starts, I can just go ahead and run that one on instead and say, hey, we don't have a show this week. Check check this one out. That way we don't lose our streak of 179 episodes in a row that we have not missed a week on, type
Oh
thing.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
speaking of Michael Douglas, Falling Down is another one that.
oh yeah, dude, falling down is it's a good way to witness somebody who just doesn't want to take people's shit anymore. Like it's a last straw movie.
It, dude, that is a movie. My friend drugged me to see that, and I thought this is gonna be a terrible fucking movie. It just nothing about that movie looked like it was gonna be interesting, and I sat in the theater just was like, yeah, I saw myself in his character so many different ways, man. I was like,
Have
I could
I think what we need to do is come up like do the IMDb top 100 type thing and just pick out the movies that you haven't seen.
Oh, that'd be a fun way to do it.
I was like, mine would be Star Wars because I've never seen a Star Wars movie.
Well, and we could be selective too, because like if you've never seen Star Wars, but we both know that the movies suck type thing. Between me and Nancy, both know that the movies suck. We can just go ahead and say that, hey, uh, let's just not do this one because there's no fucking point.
I don't know. Sometimes doing those movies, you can bash on them all. That's what we've done for our show. So
I know it's actually kind of funny. Okay, Pulp Fiction moves on to the next round. Speaking of movies that are nowhere near as good as people say they are, CJ starts us off. Is it Godfather or Back to the Future?
Um, so I don't, I do not want to see a remake of Back to the Future because Doc Brown is just a character that I don't think anybody could do it justice. Um, Michael's role, maybe, but Christopher Lloyd, man, he is that perfect, wonderful mix of manic and, brilliant that I can't, I can't name another person who would pull that off correctly. Godfather, yeah, I mean, it's amazing as far as like cinematography and storytelling and yada yada yada, but not really a movie I think couldn't be redone. Um, you take your holy trinity of Pesci, De Niro, and Pacino, and I think you very well could pull off a Godfather remake, probably. So, Pacino was actually in the first one, wasn't he? I
Yep.
think. So yeah, so there you go. Um,
Actually, no, I think Pacino was in the second one.
he was like the son, right? Like,
Yeah, he was the son, or
yeah,
along those lines. He was in the second movie.
yeah. So
So technically, if you wanted to do the entire recasting call version of which one of the rules on the recasting call is that is the entire legacy rule that he can't be in the original film. So if you wanted to do that technically, since he's not in the first one, to my knowledge, to my recollection, granted, not a huge fan of the movie, so don't trust my recollection. He's not in the first movie, so technically that would work.
yeah.
But I also don't think Godfather is going to be a movie that we ever do on the recasting call. Speaking of that, Home Alone, When Harry Met Sally, Blazing Saddles, Titanic, and Back to the Future are either movies that we have done in the history of the recasting call or are going to be doing sometime that's already on the schedule for this year for the recasting call. So, speaking about a show that we're talking about movies not being remade, to have 5 of the 32 that are already on the list, there's that. So, you're going with Back to the Future on this one there, sir?
Yes.
Okay. David, Back to the Future, Godfather.
So I think Godfather is one that you could redo. Obviously, it's simple to just recast. Back to the Future, they've got, the hoverboard thing. They've got a few, other futuristic things based off of, first and second and the time traveling car with the DeLorean. You know, you can't really replicate that in a way to a movie, with today's stuff. I think a good parody would be good and kind of going, either back into the 70s or if, again, I'm kind of basing this off the sequel too, where, you're going into the future and you're seeing, what the potentials are with today's technology and and it evolving into where we're at with like our robots and genetics and stuff. I think a good parody could be done, but I don't think it can replicate what's currently in the movies. So I'll go Back to the Future.
I'm going to go Back to the Future as well, making this a three-peat. But a Godfather, I'm going to get shit for this. Godfather is a mafia movie. Mafia movies aren't really that big of a deal to redo.
Right.
Um, it gets a lot of praise. I understand that and everything else, but it's not really that big of a deal to do. Back to the Future, I think, as long as you have a good story involved, maybe um, Marty's kids end up finding stuff that Doc gave to Marty when he died, and ends up go on an adventure with Marty in a way, kind of like Honey I Shrunk the Kids. So it's not like a direct copy of it, but a continuation of it. There's been fan trailers made about a Back to the Future 4 where Marty is a high school teacher. And he's a science teacher. And some of his kids, or a college teacher or something like that, his kids are asking questions about time travel, and he's trying not to give enough away without telling them that, hey, it's possible, because nobody's supposed to know about this stuff. But yeah, so I think there's a way to do Back to the Future as a continuation, but I wouldn't do a direct remake. The only reason I would do a direct remake is because I think the graphics now for a movie that involved would have needed really good graphics. If you could mix the original storyline like it was never made, a Back to the Future with the graphics that we have now, same people, everything else is the same, but just a completely remastered type stuff going on, I don't think it would be bad at all. But that's just changing out the graphics. That's not changing out the people, the places, the time period, storyline, nothing else. That's just that. I'm gonna go Back to the Future though. It gets my vote. That does make it a 3-0 though. It moves on to the next round. We'll be right back right after this break. All right, we have a thank you to review this week, there, guys. Uh, that is not the one I needed. This is the one I needed. I need to throw that one away because that's in my way. All right, holy fuck nuts, my bastards! I love this show. The idea is actually kind of shocking that the the idea is actually kind of shocking that it's not a bigger thing. I missed the horror themed shows though, and it looks like there's none on the show list coming up. Why? 5 stars nonetheless. Signed Rex Chase. Not my question, but I was asked to send it in. My wife is a teacher and asked this. Now that all of you are out of school, what is one topic that you want to learn on your own? two questions here. One is why we don't have any horror stuff coming on. Uh, we technically do, but when we first started the show, we kind of blew our load as far as horror stuff goes because we had we had a halfway to horror thing where we did like two different horror shows in March or something like that. And we also did the entire month of October was horror based stuff because it was actually Halloween. So we kind of ran out of topics on that one. We'll be getting back to it later on. The next horror stuff that we have is on the 19th of October. We're doing the funniest horror movie kills. So it's more of a comedy bracket than a horror movie bracket, but there's that one. And killer one-liners, which can come from horror movies as well, because I'm pretty sure Freddy Krueger has a couple like "Welcome to Prime Time, bitch" type thing. But that's the reason why. So I do apologize. We don't really have anything, but you can look forward to that one. The other question that is asked to me and to you guys is: now that you're out of school, what is one topic that you want to learn on your own? I'm going to let you guys think on this one. I've had a little bit more time to think about this one, so I'll pass it to you guys in a second. I want to learn different languages. I really do, but the only problem is that the only person I know that speaks another language. One second, my thing's going off. No, I said shut up, dude. It won't shut off. Okay. That was my Uber Eats thing going off. I apparently forgot to sign out. Give me 1 second. I do apologize because if not, this thing's gonna go off again, and I don't want it to. Okay. One of the things I definitely want to learn is different languages, but unfortunately, I live in a town that is 98% white, and it's a small town. Nobody else really knows around here to speak other languages, with the exception of sign language. And I know one person who I'm not exactly familiar with, and I don't get to spend a lot of time with her, that does speak sign language. And it's always something, you know, when learning a language, you have to be involved with it. Because if not, it just doesn't really want to sink in. It's something you gotta learn how to do. Something else I've always wanted to learn how to do is play the guitar. Unfortunately, with this show and all the other shows that I do and work and kids and everything else, I just don't have the time or patience. And again, if I have somebody in my life who knew how to play guitar, I may be able to change some things around. But going up and finding lessons and everything else is just something that I don't really have that ability. Third thing I want to learn realistically, but I need to find somebody who's really knowledgeable in it, is how money works. And that's something as far as like how to play stock markets and how to deal retirement type things, how to bend taxes, how to do a whole bunch of other stuff. Because I learned this last year with my current job, that the amount of stuff that I can write off on taxes is a lot. So if you're paying thousands upon thousands of dollars in taxes each year, I know that so far this year I can write off over $4,000 in taxes on my mileage alone, which is about, I don't know, probably 40 or 50% of the stuff that I've made so far this year. So writing off 40% of your actual income on taxes is, you might not have any taxes by the end of the year type thing. So learning how money works is something I've always wanted to learn how to do. Those are my three things. CJ, who is the elder of the group today, What are some things that now that you're out of school that you want to learn on your own?
Well, technically, I'm actually in school.
Well,
I'm doing dual bachelor degrees for music production and media communications. Um, but much in line with you, I'm trying to learn to play guitar, but uh, not doing as, as quickly as I'd like. Um, I have started taking vocal lessons with a world renowned Christian metal vocalist who has his own vocal thing. So hopefully my singing gets better. I'm attempting to learn Tagalog, which, yeah.
okay, I'm gonna
Crazy
stop you
language.
right there. What the fuck is that?
It's Filipino, basically. It's what they speak in the Philippines.
Okay,
So
I
the Philippines, the main language is Tagalog, but because there's like 7,000 islands, there's also about 538 dialects that are versions of Tagalog. Whether you want to speak Cebuano, Visayan, Basayan, Ray Ray, whatever, it's essentially Tagalog with its own twist. It's kind of like Spanish, the difference between like Mexican Spanish and Spain Spanish. So,
see. I don't know about the rest of the people out there, but I thought that was two different words. Two and Gallic, and I'm sitting there going, "What the fuck is Gallic?"
so a lot of people say it wrong. They actually say Tagalog, and it's not Tagalog. It's actually pronounced Tagalog. So, um, and Tagalog's kind of similar to Spanish, but there's also major differences. For example, in Spanish, puto is the
Hmm.
swear word, but in Tagalog, puto is an actual dessert. Um, so if you go to the Philippines and say, I would like to eat puto, it has a completely different meaning than if you say it in Mexico because puto means asshole in Spanish. So completely different interpretations, but also anything history related. I'm a major history buff. Um, Bookshelves full of history books. I collect like old time life type of books. So always anything history related. Because you know what's the old saying? Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. So it's a damn good lesson for the world today. Let's not repeat history. So um, we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, that's mine in a nutshell. Of, and math
So,
because I suck at math. So, um, but in line with what you said though, I did go from owing $700 to getting $4,000 back this year because this is considered a home office since I have a studio for school, and I got to write off the purchase of a computer and studio speakers and headphones and a whole bunch of other really cool shit. So, you
that
know,
that's one of the reasons that wish we made money off this when I can have a actual thing, because like I would completely rebuild
yeah,
this room in our basement and soundproof it and everything else, as far as and just write the entire thing off and have proper sound equipment and
yeah.
find
That I
somebody who
didn't,
knows what they're doing as far as sound goes.
and I didn't know I could do it, but I have a buddy who he's like, you can write all this shit off, right? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you're making money like from YouTube and your social media. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, everything that you use for social media, he's like, you could write all of that off. And I was like, oh, nice. I was just like, okay, MacBook, studio speakers, new camera that I bought, and um, yeah, I went from owing to getting a nice chunk of money back. So nice
We kind
for a
of did
change, not to get anally raped.
we kind of did the same thing, David. What's something that what is the topic that you want to learn on your own now that you're out of school?
You know, I really wish I had, gone to school for, film or something along those lines, like either editing or either storyboarding or directing or something. So, thinking about it now that I run my own show and I do a little bit of it on the side where my audio show. I'd love to actually try to make a movie. Whether I direct, whether I just edit, whether I do something along those lines. Other thing I'd love to do is just join an improv group and just kind of play off of people and see where the dialogue goes and stuff like that.
I have two people you need to talk to. Number one is Kate, who's my co-host on the recasting call. She might be able to give you some idea on the entire improv stuff. She runs a comedy show up in Philly, or at least the Philly area, and uh, we had a guy on our wrestling show for Rumble, Isaac, who
Oh,
is a director,
be right back.
like a legitimate movie director.
Nice.
So I would see if I can get you guys hooked. Once you have time to um to get that ball rolling, let me know and I'll see if I can hook you guys up. I
Yeah,
think he's
definitely.
having problems. I think CJ's having problems out there, so I can't start the next spot on our show. Either way, while he comes back, Rex Chase is the person who sent us this letter this week. If you want to be part of the Thank You to review, send it to bracket BRACKET TY2R at yahoo.com to get in. It also works if you want to be a guest on our show, on any of the shows on the ABC podcast channel. That includes uh, Dr. P.F. Jeremiah and his Infernal Roommate podcast as well, because they're always looking for people with some good voices, bad voices, and just people who want to fuck around a little bit too, because it's actually kind of a lot of fun just to listen to. So before you do, make sure to check out all the shows, see what you like, and then message us, and we'll figure out what we can do. Spots are always open. We're always flexible, and we try to have fun because that's just kind of things that we do. Welcome back for the second half of round one. It looks like David starts us off on this one. David, is it The Birds or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Ooh. My thing is, I don't want to see another a Birds remake. I really prefer the original. I'm gonna go the Birds on that one.
I'm kind of in David's vote on this one, on some of the previous movies. I've never seen The Birds. I'm not a Hitchcock fan. Uh, and that's for personal reasons on his end. I'm not a Hitchcock fan. But, uh, so I'm going to go with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest just for the simple fact that I don't think that movie ever should be remade because it's a moment in history. And there's certain scenes in that movie that have stuck with people's psyche, much like the log truck scene in the Final Destination movie that I don't think will ever be topped. So I'm going to go with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest on this one, which means CJ, you are a tie-breaking decision on this one. Is it The Birds or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Um, so I have seen yeah, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I have not seen The Birds. That being said, I kind of would like to see Jim Carrey in the Jack Nicholson role. I think Jim Carrey would um, just bring a manic craziness to it. Um, I would say The Birds mainly because I'm not really a Hitchcock fan, so um, I no interest in actually seeing a Hitchcock film. So, um, yeah.
The Birds moves on 2-1 to the next round. I do have to get you on the recasting call there, sir, because some of your shouts like that, the Jim Carrey, that's a good shout. So the next one that we're booking for is all the way out in September because we only do it once a month, and we're recording for the movie Casper,
Oh wow.
and we got one for November. And I think January we have somebody for January too. But there's we can double book and be fine. But we have Casper, The Replacements, It's a Wonderful Life, and Liar Liar that we're booking for.
Freddie, which Casper? Because I know there's a couple of them.
The Christina Ricci.
Is that the one where they're actually in that haunted castle and all that?
Well, yeah,
I know
With
there's
Zack
two. I
Manor.
forgot which one came first.
it's Christina Ricci, Devon Sawa, and Bill
Yeah.
Pullman.
So
So I think the 5 characters that would be actually I don't know. I don't know who we're gonna end up recasting for the top because what we do is that we take 5 characters, like a top 5 characters. The only problem is that if you take the 3 ghosts, actually no, the 4 ghosts, Casper, Cat, Bill Pullman's character, so the dad, and then you have the 2 bad guys too. That's like what 7 or 8 people right there,
yeah.
and they're all super main characters.
Yeah, see,
So-
that's what I have. That's a problem I have with Little House because I wanted to like keep it small, but it's really hard to not include like all of the main characters, which is like the Ingalls family and then the Olsen family and then like Mr. Edwards and the Swedish dude. You know, they're in like every episode.
Mhm.
So, you know, I didn't do like Almanzo because he didn't show up till like season I think 3 or 4. But like just the sort of OG characters that are there from the beginning. There's like I think 9 characters that are in every single episode, you know. So it's kind of like I know it's going to be long as shit to try to do like 9 characters. So
I mean, we do it with 5, and it usually takes about an hour to do.
yeah,
But if you know that there's that many characters, it may take you an hour and a half to 2 hours at most.
yeah.
Especially
I
if you
just
do it
figured-
in the same format that we do. So
yeah, I didn't really have a format for it. I just figured the best avenue would be like, okay, we're going to do it, but try to keep it to like 3 people max. You know, that way you don't have as many people.
go back into our show list and check out the Matilda episode.
Oh,
Or sorry, not Matilda. Sorry, Robin Hood Men in Tights.
wow.
Because that's probably one of Kate's favorite ones. I'm not a huge particular fan of the Matilda episode, so I wouldn't really recommend that one unless you're a fan of the movie Matilda. And even then, I wouldn't really recommend it. Men in Tights, though, that was a really, really fun episode to do. So I would check that one out if you're looking for a format to not go directly off of if you don't want to, but like kind of base and find different routes and avenues and things you like and things you don't like and things you would change and just move stuff around, make it yours type thing. Take a base raw element of the show that we have that worked for us. It may not work for you, but it worked for us, and just build it on what you want to do, since you're kind of wanting to do the same concept. So
Yeah, it's not like I said. It's not something I'm going to do every single week, just to break up the monotony of the top 10 list. You know, maybe once every 2 months or so, I might throw one in there or throw a bracket in there, just to.
just for shits and giggles, it's a special event. Speaking of special events, it looks like I start this one off. It is either we have 2 musicals on the board there, guys. Grease or Rocky Horror Picture Show. I don't think people would allow Rocky Horror Picture Show to be remade, especially in mainstream theaters, like actual movie theaters. I don't think. I think people would flat out boycott it, not only for the reasons that the church would have a problem with it, but I think the people who's a fan of the show, who has been a fan of the movie for the longest time, would not allow this to happen. Just wouldn't.
2016.
Just, that was a no.
It's a TV version. I get it, but
It's
it's still a remake.
it's a TV show. It's a TV version. I wouldn't know. Much like Grease, Grease was the same way. They've done multiple versions of Grease as well. I think Grease, though, being a high school type thing, there's a whole bunch of high school shows out there. I wouldn't mind a TV show based around the movie Grease, though. Like if you mix Grease with Glee type thing, where there's no show choir involved, people just happen to sing. So Grease and uh, Zoe's Infinite Playlist, or sorry, Extraordinary Playlist, where she got smacked in the head and now she hears people randomly singing that nobody else can see, type thing. I would love to see a 50 like a 50 like a greased version, so 50s 60s version, high school version of mixing Zoe and Grease in the same show, just because I'm a fan of that type of stuff. So as far as not wanting to be remade, I'm going to say Grease, or sorry, Rocky Horror Picture Show, because I could see a way that Grease could be remade and actually halfway decent. CJ, is it Grease or Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Um, I'm going Rocky Horror, man, because as great as it is, I am just not a fan of it. So I don't want to see a remake of it. Um, I'm a massive fan of like the doo-wop style and the old 50s style music, so I would love to see something modern and um, something along the lines of like what they did with Hairspray or something for Grease, you know?
That was a good movie.
Yeah, I it just I love musical theater, but I love when it's done sort of in a cheesy, sort of goofy way. Um, I don't want to say a caricature, but almost sort of in that style of like what Hairspray and Grease and all that is. Where I guess Rocky Horror is too, but I don't know. I think people take Rocky Horror way too serious. You know, like I've gone to midnight showings where there were fist fights because people didn't get to like sing when they wanted to or play the role they wanted to or whatever. And it's like, it's not even that fucking serious, people. Like, you know, like you're fighting over a fucking musical, man. Like it's, um, I don't know.
Rocky Horror gets a vote off of that when CJ finishes up. Or sorry, David finishes up.
I am gonna get a lot of hate for this.
You've never seen Rocky Horror?
So I love Rocky Horror. I've gone to the Shadowcast. I was actually a Frankenfurter cosplayer, so I've dressed up as Frankenfurter before multiple times. Um, I want to see a remake. The reason why I want to see a slightly dirtier version of it. Something where, you could see a little bit more, because let's face it, people are going a little more provocative in today's movie. So I'm kind of curious to see how that would go. I'd say, yeah, I'm going to go Grease on this one because Grease can be redone so many ways that I've seen, like, you got High School Musical, you got so many ways like Grease has already been done. So I'm kind of curious on Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I'm going to vote Grease on not being remade.
Rocky Horror moves on 2-1 to the next round. CJ starts us off. CJ, is it Wizard of Oz or Casablanca?
Um, I mean, they essentially just redid Wizard of Oz with Wicked. So,
I mean,
I mean, it's a
they
prequel, but
well, no, it's not even that because like it's it's the same it's the same world. That's like okay, you're not a Star Wars fan, so I can't say that. I was about to say that's like saying Rogue One is like Episode 4. It's the same thing as Episode 4. They coexist in the same world, but they're not the same movie. So
yeah, I'd probably say Casablanca. I mean, I could see that being redone in a more modern, dramatic way. That seems to have like a Ryan Gosling type of bend to it. Like I could see somebody like Ryan Gosling or um, assorted other Chris Evans or some other assorted pretty boy character playing like sort of like the Notebook or the piano or something.
Casablanca gets a vote. David,
Casablanca, Wizard of Oz. They've got 14 books, and I know they've got like so much lore to it. Why not? Why not make a universe out of it? We've already got Marvel, we've got DC, we've got a horror universe. We got so many universes. Why not do Wizard of Oz? So Casablanca.
I'm surprised they haven't done one. I mean, Blonde books are well, okay. Wicked is actually written by a completely different person, but if you want to do a Blom series, like a Frank, sorry, Bomb series, I was adding an L and I shouldn't have. A Frank Baum series, I think that'd be good, but like the actual person who wrote the Wicked books, I wouldn't recommend it. I've read all three of them. There's Wicked, Son of a Witch, and there's a Lion one too, and I can't remember the name of the book, but they're not good. At least for me, they're not good. Wicked movie was pretty good. So if you wanted to do all three of those, it'd be fine. But that's if the first Wicked movie is two two movies long, do that with all three books. That's six movies. So
Doesn't
it's
even have to be.
possible.
You can make your own universe and kind of tie in Wicked a little bit, but you got so much source material. Make something brand new and just kind of go off of that. You don't even have to go the musical. I think it'd be good if you went the traditional route, kind of pay homage to what you got going on from the original. But
Well, and I don't find a problem with that. In fact, I think it'd be kind of cool to leave to have to use the source material in a way that there's different Easter eggs in the movie or
yeah,
in the storyline that
yeah,
calls back to different situations. Like so people can kind of reference like, hey, this character may be the great grandson of the lion, or the lion is could be the great grandson of of this person or whatever because they they had the same last name, but you'd only know that if you read the original books type thing.
yep.
And it's a good concept, but so yeah, I don't think Wizard of Oz being remade in general, like straight up remake of Wizard of Oz, I don't like the idea. So I'm gonna vote for Wizard of Oz because I think Casablanca is such a one. I don't think people nowadays would get it.
right.
Uh, Casablanca is a timeless movie. It could be remade today because the storyline is the storyline, but I think I would wait another at least another 4 years for Casablanca to be made because hopefully a lot of the woke material, and I'm not going to say woke is bad or woke is good or whatever, but what a lot of this wokeness is doing is adding elements or taking elements away that would not have needed to be taken away if there was a if it was if people were telling you that this is a problem. So it just kind of is what it is. So I think Casablanca could be done a lot better than the original Wizard of Oz would do. So I'm going to go with Wizard of Oz. But Casablanca moves on 2-1 to the next round, faces another split vote in that one. Uh, David,
Yep.
is it Raiders of the Lost Ark or Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I'm gonna go Roger Rabbit, and that's a classic movie. And let's face it, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, it's a very I like it, but it's also a very generic concept where you could remake that, again and again, just with a different character and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I'll go Roger Rabbit should not get remade just because I think that's a classic that shouldn't be touched.
I'm going to agree with you on this one. Mainly the simple fact that I I would want Raiders to be remade, even what like the Mummy came out what like 10 years after Raiders,
Yep.
and the graphics were so much better in that movie. If you mix Raiders of the Lost Ark with the Brendan Fraser version of the Mummy, that's one hell of a movie. That's how the stuff that they've created in the last decade type stuff. So doing a new version of Raiders, especially Raiders, not Crystal Skull or something like that, where it starts getting entire aliens type stuff. But if you do a Mummy version of Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think that would be fantastic. So I see a route in that. Roger Rabbit, I like. There's been a couple of movies out there that cross streams per se. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, for instance, did a entire lineup where like the Sonic was in there, but it wasn't like Sonic. It was the ugly version of Sonic, and SpongeBob was in there in the background, and some other stuff that cross streams into different companies. It was kind of a crossover element. Uh, Space Jam, the newer version of Space Jam, did the same thing where you had other elements from other cartoon characters being in the same world, the same universe. So I think it's possible for Roger Rabbit. I just don't think it would be good nowadays because that was just a timepiece. So I'm going to go with Roger Rabbit as well. CJ, finish us up.
Yeah, Roger Rabbit. I mean, you could do it, but why would you do it? I mean, it's again sort of lightning in a bottle, you know.
I hate to argue this. They've already remade Looney Tunes a good number of times. I think it's lost its appeal after being remade again and again and again with the TV shows and Space Jam and all the sequels to Space Jam. So
I start this one up. It is a Tom Hanks classic. It's either Forrest Gump or The Green Mile. First of all, I'm going to say this right now. Two things. One, Ginny Gump is one of the ultimate villains of all time. It absolutely end point on that one too. Forrest Gump should have been 3 movies, or at least 2.
2.
At least 2. It could have been 3 if you wanted to space that out.
There's actually a second book in the series, and the second book is better than the first one.
Well, but what I'm saying though is that there's so much in the Forrest Gump world, that one movie. There's so much storyline going on that could have been just a live story that could have gone for at least 3 movies. I would have a Lord of the Rings-esque version of Forrest Gump, and it probably would have been better because you could have gone deeper into the storylines and what different characters and everything else. Green Mile, you can't replace John Coffey, so you can't that's just a character, and he was played marvelously and everything else. So I'm gonna go with Green Mile on this one to never be remade. CJ, Green Mile, Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on this one. Green Mile should never ever be even thought of being redone. It's one of the three movies on my list that should never be even thought about being done. Whereas Gump actually has a sequel book that's better than the first one. The kid is basically a teenager during the book and the adventures him and Forrest get into, including blowing up a town because they're pig farmers and there's a leak. They have a methane filtering system or something, and something goes wrong, and they blow up a town with pig shit. So there's some really great comedic shit in the second book. So absolutely, Green Mile.
Green Mile gets another vote. David, finish this up.
I'm gonna have to go with Green Mile too. I've got way too much of a soft spot for that movie, so I gotta go with that.
3-0. Green Mile moves on to the next round. Don't forget, you guys have lifelines. Next up, I start this one off. It's either going to be Mrs. Doubtfire or Airplane. I'm going to go Mrs. Doubtfire not to be remade. Simple fact because I don't like that movie. As a dad, I don't like that movie. So, just, and Ron Williams, just, you can't recast that. Airplane, I want to see a new version of this. They're making a new Naked Gun series with
It looks horrible.
Liam Neeson, and I know he's not gonna be anywhere near as good as the old one was, but I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
I would love to see a modern version of this though, just with like recent jokes, and see how. But I would give it to Seth MacFarlane to do it because I think he's the only person that could actually pull it off. But Mrs. Doubtfire gets my vote. CJ, Mrs. Doubtfire, Airplane.
Hold on one second. I would like to see the Wayans family redo the Airplane series, much in the same vein as the scary movies. So I think it would be hilarious. Sort of take what they did with Soul Plane,
Yeah.
combined it with like Airplane, from that perspective. So it would be Airplane that I do not want to see redone.
Which means there's a tie-breaking decision coming down to David. David, is it Airplane or Mrs. Doubtfire?
As I can.
I think in today's world, I don't think
Making
Mr.
a
Doubt a
something in the
remake of
meantime.
it would be accepted. And I won't go too much into it, but I'll just say that it won't be accepted. And as curious as I would be to see it remade, I just don't think it would be well received if it was remade. So I'll go Mrs. Doubtfire.
2-1 moves on to the next round. Your mute is on there, sir.
Mine or
No, CJ. Okay.
Sorry.
Let's say I muted you first because you were on the phone. I didn't want to disturb you.
Mom is being needy.
That's all right. I wasn't. I was gonna let you have your own. Well, I wasn't gonna let you. I was trying to give you your mute so because this is live. So
I'm sorry.
so there's that. CJ though starts us off. Is it Jurassic Park or The Truman Show?
Oh God, I really dislike both of these movies. I'm gonna pass whatever.
You're gonna pass the parcel on this one between Truman Show and Jurassic Park. The audience says, in a vote of 10-27, it is Jurassic Park getting that vote. David, Jurassic Park or Truman Show?
Yeah, I'll go Jurassic Park. I think we got enough dinosaur movies.
I would have gone the Truman Show. I don't think you could do it better than what Jim Carrey did it. So if you're gonna remake a movie, I love the concept of it, but it's just I wouldn't mind seeing if you would do a version of the Truman Show. I would want to see a tire M Night Shyamalan and Ding Dong version of it,
Yeah.
because but have a darker twist, like have a darker version of the Truman Show, and you kind of already know what the twist is by the end of because it's a remake. But I think he can add some elements to it that you wouldn't that since you already know what the twist is, or you think you know what the twist is because it's a remake, um, he can add some other twists and turns to it that you wouldn't see coming because you already know something's coming and you think you know what it is. So that's the only way I could see the Truman Show being remade. But I'm still going to vote for it because, yeah, just there's a new Jurassic Park movie coming out this summer, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to it.
They're making another one? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
Rebirth.
Rebirth?
Yep,
Is it Jurassic World or Jurassic Park?
it's Jurassic World, but they're going back to the original island.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's supposed to have some of the original characters in it too.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yep. So 2-1 moves on to the next round. Last up in round one, David starts us off. Is it The Breakfast Club or Arsenic and Old Lace?
Mm,
And if you've never seen Arsenic and Old Lace, I recommend you watch it. It's a Cary Grant movie.
I'm gonna have to say what I don't want remade. I'm gonna steal your vote, Freddie.
Hmm.
I'll go with Arsenic.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that because that's what I was going to go with anyway. So,
Or no, yeah, Arsenic should not be remade. No, crap. Breakfast Club should not be remade.
okay. Either way, it's fine. Um, I would have gone with Arsenic and Old Lace on this one. Actually, to be perfectly honest, I wouldn't mind seeing Arsenic and Old Lace being remade. I think there's enough time has passed by that they could do it and be fine. But finding somebody like there's only certain old people that I would like to replace the ants in this one. And one of the old people you can't do it with anymore is because she's dead, and that's Betty White.
Yeah.
So having Betty White as one of the ants, and uh, I don't know, there's so that might be a movie that we may look at recasting in the future for the recasting call as well because it's a damn good movie and it would have gotten my vote. Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club. It's a high school movie, and I think it could be. I think it could be redone. I wouldn't because it's complete overkill. But if they would add a different twist to it, I would agree with it. But I don't know. CJ, finish this up.
Um, yeah, Breakfast Club would be my answer because it would be impossible to recapture. Whereas, um, I will immediately say that for the two old ladies in Arsenic and that, um, Margot Martindale and Kathy Bates would be amazing as a
I
duo.
think I think Kathy Bates is a good shout. I think the only problem with Arsenic and Old Lace in our format for recasting is I think there's four main characters. Uh, but trying to find the fifth person without having to go deeper would be hard to do. Because you have the two ants, the main character dude and his wife, Actually, I wouldn't include the wife. I would include, because his wife isn't really there a lot. I would include the two aunts, the main guy who was originally played by Cary Grant, and the two bad guys. That would be my five. So yeah, I think that'd be possible. Either way, Breakfast Club moves on 3-0 to the next round. We'll be right back right after this break. Um, I skipped somebody in that entire thing by writing it off. So when we come back, CJ will be starting because that's just what happened. So um, I am. One of the cool things about this show is that I get to talk to people that do different shows, and it's just kind of fun to learn about different things. So we have two guests this week that are not part of the Bastard show. And number one, I'm going to talk to is CJ. CJ,
Yes.
tell us about yourself.
Uh, music fanatic, self-professed music god, so to speak. Expert in all things pop culture, music, books. Father, that's my proudest title. I mean, if I do nothing else in life, I'll leave this earth raising 6 really amazing kids, and soon to be published author. So another cool feather in the cap. we're writing 2 books at the same time. So one fiction, one music related. So yeah.
There you go. And the other person we have on the docket today is, of course, David. David, tell us about yourself there, sir.
When I'm not, fixing cable problems in Kentucky, I'm either playing my D&D podcast with a buddy of mine, or I'm doing my own show where I get to act like a druid and like basically a grumpy old man, and review movies with a doctor in entertainmentology. So
It's such a weird show. It really is. It's one of the weirdest concepts that I've ever heard of, and I love it. Type thing. I'm not bashing this thing at all. In fact, it's just
well,
it's one of the it's one of these things where it gives me like a Mystery Theater 3000 vibe as well.
Well, the concept is because I haven't seen a lot of movies, so why not make a character who's kind of, not of our world and, kind of gets, grown and adapting into our world more and more. That's kind of, where it inspired off of that, and movies. That's kind of, a best way to introduce, this guy to, the world. Just, watch it through a screen.
And let's say these movies that you do, are they actual movies that you've never seen, or is it just
Some are, some aren't. So, I've had Jeremy make some recommendations for me, and then, we let guests pick normally. So,
there you go. That is PF Jeremiah and his Fernal Remake podcast. You can find that on our feed as well every other week. I think there's 3 episodes out now on since they've started with us, and we absolutely love to have them here. Welcome back for round 2. It looks like CJ starts us off on this one. CJ, is it Home Alone or The Birds?
Home Alone.
Gets a vote, David.
yeah, if I would rather not have a remake, Home Alone.
I mean, I don't want to see The Birds, period. I just wouldn't watch it. So, but I think redoing the original Home Alone would just it'd be a slap in the face to the original Home Alone, which is the problem here. Because you can always just say, it's like I don't want them to remake it. Then again, I just not watch it. You're not always forcing to watch these things.
Yeah. The Birds is the type of movie that Shyamalan would be good at doing,
So Home Alone moves on to the next round. David starts us off. David, is it Galaxy Quest or Casablanca?
I've heard enough about Galaxy Quest. I'm just saying, knowing Casablanca, I'll go Casablanca. Or no, wait, not wanting to be remade Galaxy Quest. I always got to rethink that because it's like what we don't want remade.
Yep,
So
I'm the same way. I think Galaxy. I think Casablanca could be remade. It's been a long enough time that the current generation has heard of it, maybe have seen it in like a history class type thing, but just it could be redone even with the original, like even redoing the original. I think it'd be fine. Galaxy Quest to the only way to do Galaxy Quest again is to make it better, and it'd be the same concept of polishing a turd. And I just so I'm gonna go with Galaxy Quest as well on that one.
Tell us how you
CJ,
vote. Yeah, I a remake of Casablanca probably in the right hands would not be terrible. I not a Star Trek fan, not a sci-fi fan in and of itself, other than the occasional thing like Spaceballs or something. But um, yeah, no desire to see a remake of Galaxy Quest.
moves on to the next round in a sweep. I start this one off. It's either going to be Shawshank Redemption or The Green Mile. Uh, going with the same going with the same construct as going with Home Alone on this one. I think redoing Green Mile would be a slap in the face to Green Mile. Whereas
mhm.
Shawshank, if they found the right actors for it, it would still just be a movie that wouldn't really tarnish the original construct of it. So going with history wise, I'm gonna go with Green Mile. CJ, Green Mile or Shawshank?
Green Mile all day.
Gets
Um,
another one, David.
Green Mile.
Moves on to the next round in the sweep. Uh, CJ starts this one off. Is it Pulp Fiction or Jurassic Park?
Jurassic Park. I let me say I don't want to see another dinosaur movie.
Get to vote, David.
I don't think we need any more dinosaur movies. No, Jurassic.
I wouldn't mind seeing a live action version of Land Before Time.
That wouldn't be terrible.
I mean, I don't know where they'd get the dinosaurs, but just saying. Uh,
Or the Pixar movie that they had with dinosaurs, and I
I
forgot
was
the
gonna
name.
say they kind of technically did a little bit with dinosaurs, but um, you know,
in our fourth sweep in a row, Jurassic Park moves on to the next round. David starts us off. Is it Nightmare Before Christmas or Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. What shouldn't be remade? Nightmare Before Christmas.
Gets not only one vote, but two, because I'm going to go with that one as well. CJ, finish us up.
yeah, I'm going Nightmare Before Christmas because expanding on what he said earlier, I wouldn't mind seeing Rocky Horror Picture Show done, but done as a horror movie, like sort of a tongue-in-cheek horror movie, like a little more graphic, a little more, you know,
I
kill
was thinking.
shot.
I was thinking not like a full porn, but like something where they went a little more edgier than what they did in the
Yeah.
original.
I would like to see Rocky Horror done sort of in the vein they did Repo the Genetic Opera.
I was just about to mention that.
Like that would be a cool version of Rocky Horror where they just kind of went, you know, they kept a goofy element, but at the same time just went bigger, more bombastic, more kill shots, some some like 300 type blood splatters and shit like
Mhm.
that, you know. Just
Or to do like a heavy metal version of it, kind of like
yeah. Like
metal.
they
Is it
recorded
Metalocalypse?
a punk rock version of it. There's like a punk rock record on like the punky horror, the punk rock horror picture show or something or another, where they had punk bands play all the parts. Um, you know,
Yeah, I think Tenacious D was on that one too.
I think they were.
Yeah, because they did Time Warp.
Um,
So
and that's your obvious casting. Like, you know, the Meatloaf role has to go to Jack Black. There's just, you know, there's really no other. It's either Caleb Johnson or Jack Black. Those are the only two people that are pulling that off. So, and the majority of people aren't going to know who Caleb Johnson are. So, you know,
Night Before Christmas moves on 3-0 in the next round. Uh, I start this one off. It's either going to be Princess Bride or Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The only way I will accept a Princess Bride remake is if it's done with Muppets.
I don't even want to see it then.
And to be perfectly honest, I was talking about this at Easter dinner today. I want the Muppets to create an entire TV show that's about like an hour long, where they remake old movies, but like much how they uh, did the Christmas Carol type thing. They remake old stuff like that, but each episode is a different either book or movie or something along those lines. Have like a 10 episode season type thing, and just do the movies justice, but make it enough of a farce where people know you're not making fun of it. You're kind of paying homage, but not remaking it type thing. Like uh, Phineas and Ferb did the Star Wars, but not in cartoon form. So, but I'm gonna say Bride. I'm gonna say Princess Bride on this one, just because I always say that the only movie that we're never gonna do that fits requirements at least on the casting call is the Princess Bride, unless it's our last episode. Because I guarantee you, if we ever redo that, we're gonna get canceled. So, Bride gets my vote. CJ, Princess Bride or Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah, it's Princess Bride. There are three movies that, like I said, never ever should be done, shouldn't even be thought about being done. That is Princess Bride, Green Mile, and Labyrinth. Um, you know, I I don't even want to hear talk of doing those movies. And they're talking about, you know, doing the sequel to Labyrinth at this point, and I'm like, you know, how the fuck are you gonna do Labyrinth without David Bowie? Like, you literally don't have the main character of the freaking movie. How the hell are you going to do that movie? And
Tim Curry in his younger age could probably do it.
I mean, there's
Yeah, but now you'd have to have who's the guy who's voicing Prince now? Adam Lambert to
Alan
do it.
Lambert could do it.
Yeah.
but do we want it? That's the thing.
No, I'm not saying we want it. What I'm saying is like if you had to recast that role.
No, I mean it's the characters, the storyline, the Henson, everything about that movie was just so. Everything about that movie shouldn't have worked, but it did work. You know what I'm saying? The pit of eternal stench, the goofy characters, the almost Muppet type quality to it.
Well, it is Jim Henson, so
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's I just don't see them ever doing anything musically or storyline wise. There's just no way. And it's such a great. It holds a really special place for me because it was one of those childhood movies that I was in foster care at the time. The woman who, my foster mother, she ran a daycare, and during the day, she had one of the old uh, laser disc things, and she had four laser discs. So we watched these same four movies over and over. So Labyrinth, The Last Starfighter,
Another good
um,
movie.
yeah, The Last Starfighter, and then there were two other ones I don't remember the name of, but I have seen The Last Starfighter and Labyrinth like so many times I can practically quote the movies. So, and both of them kind of hold special places, but I'm not going to say The Last Starfighter shouldn't be remade because, you
I mean,
know,
I wouldn't mind seeing the last Starfighter remade,
well,
especially
that's
with
what I'm
current
saying. That's a
with
movie
like
that you
current
can
graphics, because
realistically do.
I don't think Last Starfighter holds the same kind of um,
No,
heartstrings
right. That's what I'm
as
saying.
anything
Last
else does. So
Starfighter,
if
you
you
can do it almost in a, you can do it in almost what's that damn TV show they just did that goes back to the 80s with all the kids and shit and David Harbour
Stranger
and
Things,
Stranger Things. You could do Last Starfighter in almost Stranger Things type of way, Um, whereas Labyrinth it just would be near impossible to recapture that magic. Same with it's Labyrinth is in the same vein as Princess Bride for me. It's really sort of a lightning in a bottle type of thing. It's just a once in a production type of thing.
would you ever recast Labyrinth if you had the opportunity
I
to
would
redo it?
recast. I mean, I
Okay,
think I think with enough thought, you could probably pull it off.
If you
Um,
do that episode, I want in on that. I could probably give you some good people.
I mean, there's
tell
a
you what,
couple logical choices for the Goblin King. Um, you know, it's more voiceover work though than it is really casting characters because there's really
I
like three or four
if
human-like
if
characters.
if we do this, it would be uh, you, David, and Kate, and I would just host because I appreciate that you have a love for the movie,
Hmm.
but Jim Henson stuff has never been my vibe.
Right.
So
Well, I get that totally. Like a lot of people, I have friends who detest Labyrinth. And I think it just goes back to that childhood memory of being forced to sit downstairs in the basement at the daycare. You have all of these goddamn kids that are like 2 and 3 and 4 years old, and you're 16, but you're not allowed to go upstairs because that's the rules of the foster home. You have to be downstairs. So you're sitting there with all these fucking kids and you're watching these movies over and over because you have to watch movies that are kid friendly.
hmm,
This was 1985, so it was before serious internet or any of that type of streaming and all of that. And it was just one of them things where
I mean,
you know,
I wouldn't count Labyrinth kid friendly, to be perfectly honest, but that's me.
I mean, right. I wouldn't count Dark Crystal or Secret of Nim as kid friendly either, but
Then again, Spaceballs was rated PG-13. Or sorry, Spaceballs was rated PG. So that's I don't know if they even had other ratings except for uh, PG or R at that point, or just
Yeah.
anyway. But no, that's what I'll do. I will throw it in my bucket.
hey, I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm gonna see if this will load on my phone. Um and I'm gonna switch over to my phone so I can go downstairs and make her her food. I'm loading it up, so I'll be back in 2 seconds.
No, that's all right. David, we have a question for you though. Have you ever seen a movie on a laser disc?
Nope, I didn't even know what they were until my episode Nausicaa, because someone had to explain what laser discs were to me.
I am I'm almost 40 years old. I've seen one movie on a laser disc, and that is it.
Really?
And that was Brian's song. Uh, that was in chemistry class in high school.
Yeah. So
So anyway, uh, your last one to go though. What's your vote though, sir? Galaxy Quest or Princess Bride?
was it Galaxy Quest or Roger Rabbit?
Or sorry, Roger Rabbit. It's going to be facing Galaxy Quest.
So I'm gonna go Roger Rabbit, and again, I think about, and I'm gonna reference Looney Tunes again, and even some of the Disney stuff. How you had your classic, like cartoon stuff that you're never gonna see nowadays. And I think the classic stuff is what's funny. And Roger Rabbit was one of those ones where, yeah, they had their shorts, and then they made it into a movie, and they threw all that classic element into it. And you're never gonna get that nowadays. So I'm gonna go Roger Rabbit.
Roger Rabbit moves. Sorry, Princess Bride moves on 2-1 to the next round. Next up, CJ would be starting us off, but he's not here right now. So let's go ahead and go with the audience. Between American Pie and Mrs. Doubtfire, both of these moved on 2-1 last round, and it is 68-8. Mrs. Doubtfire gets that particular vote. David, Mrs. Doubtfire, American Pie.
Mrs. Doubtfire. I'm gonna go with that.
I really wish I was going first. I would have stolen a vote. I'm going to go with American Pie on this one. Mainly because I just don't want to talk about Mrs. Doubtfire anymore. It's this horrible concept of a movie. And American Pie is a great comedy. I don't think they could do it nowadays though, just for public decency reasons. 2-1 to the next round. Next up, David, is it Back to the Future or The Breakfast Club?
Which one shouldn't be remade?
Should not be remade. Both of these are sweeps last round, by the way.
Yeah, that's the problem. They're both, I'll go Back to the Future. I think if I had to choose between, classic, high school movie that, shouldn't be touched, or, poorly, obviously we couldn't tell the future, but you didn't know what technology was, how it was going to grow and everything. I would go Back to the Future.
Gets a vote. I'm going to vote for Back to the Future. Just because, for two reasons. One, to throw Kevin's name out in here, because Back to the Future is Kevin's favorite movie of all time. And the idea of having Back to the Future remade bothers him so much that he ends up being he's our guest in September when we're recasting Back to the Future for the recasting call. So,
Oh boy.
I know.
That's another name for Blazing Saddles you could consider Kevin Smith.
For directing, or
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Kevin Smith could.
then again, I mean, yeah, because he could take the governor's role as well.
Yeah.
Because having Kevin Smith, that's especially the dry humor that Kevin Smith has,
Yeah.
doing that same role but dryly, I think would be such a British type humor, but not British. It'd just be hysterical. But yeah, I'm gonna go back to the Future as well. CJ, finish this up. Is it Back to the Future or The Breakfast Club?
I'm going to go Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club is, I mean, Back to the Future, hard to remake, but Breakfast Club was, I mean, based on what the subject matter was, and it really is, it's just an 80s movie. You know what I'm saying? It's not a movie you're going to be able to relate to any other time period. And school changed so much between the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s that you're not going to have that same.
I don't know. I mean, here's my thing though. The premise of the movie is, and a lot of it came from back to the parents that pressured them with their own individual issues. You've got parents that do that today, pressure their kids with sports, or you got parents that aren't attentive in their kids' lives. I'm sure there's that father that beats their kid out there somewhere, and then the kid takes it out on people at school. I think it still exists. I just, I don't know how it's going to be translated in today's film, but I think it could be done.
I mean, it's a timepiece. That's the thing. Like it really is just that's all it is. It's just a timepiece. You know, kind of like
Well,
kind of like
my
Pretty in Pink. It's another movie that just you could redo it, but I don't think it's going to have that same vibe or feel. Like
my problem with the Breakfast Club is that being remade realistically is that that's a movie waiting to go through a woke treatment.
yeah,
Just and not in a good way. Like there's going to be like they're talking about in the original movie they're talking about diversity, but they're all white kids with a white principal in a decent town and everything else. So this is going to end up being. And again, I don't have a problem with wokeness. I get the general idea on why because you need diversity and everything else. So,
right.
uh, but having said that, when you're dealing with classic movies like The Breakfast Club, which by the way, I'm not a fan of the movie. I can see how people are when they grew up with it and
I'm not a
everything
big
else.
fan of it, to be honest. It's a
But
time. That's just what it is.
I think my fear is that between Back to the Future and Breakfast Club, the amount of changes that would be made to the Breakfast Club would be far more than Back to the Future, and it would turn out to be crap.
Right.
So that's the reason one of the reasons I went with Back to the Future on my vote is because of that. Because I know how Hollywood is. I think we all know how freaking Hollywood is, especially lately. All right. Uh, that's the end of round two. Be right back at the end of this break.
I'm such a dumbass. I tried to switch to my phone, not even realizing I have a $3,000 MacBook that I could just literally pick up off the desk and bring downstairs with me.
Why? I don't understand people paying thousands upon thousands of dollars for a laptop.
I didn't. It came as part of my tech package for school, but I said, dude, I've had it 9 months. I've used it more for your podcast than I've actually used it for school. I've used it like 4 times for your podcast and like 2 times for school.
And see the podcast that I use, I have a. I think it's a. I don't even know what it is to be perfectly honest. I don't have a logo in front of me. So, but it's not an Apple computer. I know that much. It's a like an HP computer, whatever. Cost me $200.
Yeah. I have 2 PCs that are a fifth of the price. They're 2 high-end gaming computers. Combined, they're like a fifth of what this stupid MacBook costs. And I am vehemently anti-Mac. Everything.
I'm Mac. I'm anti Apple. My son has
That's what I meant. Anti-Apple.
my son has an iPhone, and I asked him why he wanted an iPhone because everybody else in the house has droids of some sort, and even though they're like different companies and everything else, like I have a Samsung. I think
Yeah.
I can't remember what my wife has, but Motorola. Yeah, she has a Moto. I have a Samsung, but there's so many different companies for Droid, but only one for freaking iPhone. And I asked him why. It's like, well, why do you want an iPhone over something else that's half the price and works better. He's like, oh. I'm like, dude, give a reason. I don't even care if you say because it's better, because it's more popular or something. Just don't make a decision that is a $600 decision over, I don't know. Either way. Hey, I'm your host, Freddie Fisher. I don't only host this show, but I host other shows. Number one, of course, is the Recasting Call. We've been talking about the Recasting Call a little bit during this show, where me, and my co-host Kate take an old movie made before 2000 and recast it with stars of today. It's a little bit of old mixed with a little bit of new. Certain rules among with that one too, but it's a lot of fun. We do that one time a month, and it's also, as I said during this show, that we book it so far out in advance because there's only a limited amount of seating, and we only do it once a month. So there's that. We have a show called Versus where you make the bracket, you decide the winner, and I'm just along for the ride. Bastards Backstage is a interview style show with 20 questions and millions of answers. CJ has been a guest on that one as well. And what else? We have the Pro Wrestling Podcast Central booking. I know I'm forgetting something on this one, where it is not a wrestling review show. It is a wrestling think tank project where every episode, we take on a new project. This upcoming week that we're recording is we are drafting actually our own company from current stars. We get 15 men, 15 women, 5 tag teams, and 1 legacy character, dead or alive, to form our company with our names. And I think I may be doing a update episode where we get points on how that eventually goes out on too, but I haven't figured that one out yet. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the ABC podcast world. Not only my shows, but of course David's show is in the ABC podcast world as well. So make sure to check that one out. I guarantee you will not be bored. Just, hey, quick warning though, if you listen to our shows, don't listen to it on an open speaker. You may get fired. If you get fired, it's not my fault. Update.
These hosts may not reflect.
Oh, by the way, we got rid of that. It changed now. It says something along the lines of this show is live and we are stupid.
Oh boy.
That's the intro to mine. It starts out: the views and opinions of this show may or may not reflect the general population. Ask us if we give a shit.
If you get a chance, David, listen to this last week's episode that just dropped yesterday. It's a wrestling episode, but it's the most recent one. It's the one where I switched all the drops to.
Oh shit.
And it's the voice of Santa Claus.
The voice of Santa Claus.
Yes, there's an AI rendition of people who want to get a message from Santa Claus can do the entire Santa Claus type thing, and it's an AI rendition of Santa Claus. So I have Santa Claus swearing. It got bleeped out because I did bleep out the beginning type thing. So if the word beep beep and beep, but I kept the first letter, so you know what it is, but you don't actually hear the entire thing. It's just fun. I also had to change the theme song because I keep getting copyright stuff, and I can't find the post where the singer of the original song that we had said that it's public use.
Really?
So for legal reasons, I had to change it. Anyway, update. Past the Parcel is good for the next 4 matchups, and that is it. That is unlimited use. Steal a Vote, which CJ and myself have, is good for the next 4 but Pass the Parcel, which everybody has, or not Pass the Parcel, Blown to Load, which everybody has, is good up until the end of the game. All right. Welcome back for round 3 and beyond. It looks like I get to start us off on this one. And it is either starting off again, we have Home Alone or Nightmare Before Christmas. Both of these, by the way, have the possibility for a pearl necklace. So keep that in mind. Nightmare Before Christmas, if they would remake it, I want it done in the same style. So I want a stop action claymation type thing. And they just don't do that anymore because it's a shit ton of work. So if there is years upon years upon years of work attached to this, I would understand it being remade. However, there are way too many Home Alone movies. If they would redo the original Home Alone, I don't think they would ever live that down. So I am going to be voting for Home Alone on this one. And just to pay David back, I'm going to be stealing David's vote. So Home Alone gets number 1 and number 2 off of this one. CJ.
Yeah.
Home Alone or Nightmare Before Christmas?
Home Alone.
Gets a third and final vote. Still a contender for Pass the Parcel. Not for Pearl Necklace. I do apologize. Home Alone gets that vote and the win. David, your vote was stolen, but what would have your vote been?
I would have passed the parcel on this one because I would have gone with neither of them.
And it would have ended up going with Home Alone.
Although
So the audience was with us on that one, thank goodness. Home Alone, 3-0, moves on to the next round. CJ starts us off. Is it Green Mile or Mrs. Doubtfire?
Green Mile.
Get the vote. David.
Green Mile.
And I'll go ahead and give it the third one just because. And I don't want to talk about Mrs. Doubtfire anymore. So,
Freddie, so remind me, what's the big deal with you and Mrs. Doubtfire? If you don't
all
mind
right.
me.
He says I don't want to talk about it.
I don't really.
I know you don't. I'm just curious. If you don't mind me asking.
Mrs. Doubtfire is a story of a father who has to fight to see his kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
Through realistically no fault of his own.
Right.
Being a comedy errors, not being able to make enough money, situational issues, but taking away a father's rights, period, is crap.
Yeah.
And even then, the only way he gets to see his kids by the end of the movie is because him and his ex-wife end up being spoiler alert for a movie that's 30 fucking years old. They kind of get back together at that point. So the mom still controls the entire situation. Iowa, of course, is among the multiple states like this. It's a mom state, which means pretty much that the dad is on the very last end of the list as far as taking care of their kids. So if you get divorced and if the mom is stable at all, meaning pretty much your mom has to be caught doing drugs to be considered an unfit mom. If she is considered an unfit mom, the kid goes to the grandparents. In most cases. The dad pretty much has to be a perfect person, an upstanding, and in all different kinds of ways. Work from home, so he doesn't really go to work. He just kind of works from home type thing. So being able to take care of the kids, being able to do everything else, does not have to jump through the same hoops that a mom has to. And do all these different things. And even then, after hitting all of these things, there's still a chance that the kid may go to foster care over the dad. And this is not just a case about me. This is a case about a whole bunch of people I know, and it goes across a whole bunch of other different states. And Mrs. Doubtfire is a story of a father who is facing this battle, and still the only way he wins is because of the mom. If you want a movie where the dad wins, realistically, it's just for being a good dad. Ironically enough, it's Big Daddy.
For the pursuit of
Yep.
happiness.
Yeah, or The Pursuit of Happiness, which I don't like Will Smith. So, although I'm still looking forward to hearing his new record that just came out, I just haven't had a chance.
So
So,
good.
is it? I've heard good and bad
And
things,
he's
but I also understand how that could be political. So,
no, he's gone sort of full Joyner Lucas on the new record, man. Like
really,
he's like there's a bunch of I won't say there's a bunch of swear words, but for Will Smith, there's a
yeah, I was about to say
swear
because
word.
there was an explicit symbol
Yeah,
on the entire cover,
like
and I'm sitting there
he's
going like,
sort of
dude, Will Smith
leading
don't
the
swear.
villain arc on this one. Like
There's two songs I can think of Will Smith swearing in. One of them was bleeped out, and that was with Mary J. Blige,
right.
where he was talking about September 11th. So that was even justified. And the other one, it was when he first started out. He was talking about him getting in a car accident and going against a
Yeah,
rich old white lady type thing who caused the accident, but him still getting in trouble because he's a young black kid driving a nice car.
yeah. No,
So
he went full Joyner Lucas and LL Cool J on this one. Like
that
yeah,
I'll see if I can listen to it tomorrow at work. So anyway, but to answer your question, David, because I've been asked this before on different accounts about Mrs. Doubtfire. In this particular thing about it not being remade, I can understand it moving on. I mean, voting for it because I honestly don't want to see it remade, but I also don't want to talk about it anymore during this show. So
I'm done. I was just curious if you didn't mind me asking on that
no,
part.
it's one of the few movies out there that will get me riled up in a way that
yeah.
shouldn't. So, and that's speaking from a single father point of view,
Yep.
who doesn't, who I don't get to see my kid near. A lot of people have the entire every other weekend thing. I
Yep.
don't. I see my kid every few months.
Ooh,
And the reason why is and that's only for like a weekend, so like a day or two at a time. The reason why is because my daughter's in high school. She's got a job. She's looking forward to college. A bunch of other stuff. And she lives 150 miles away. So my time when I do get her down here, she has to be away from work, which means she's losing money. She has to worry about schoolwork getting done. She's also involved with school plays and sports and like tire FMLA or whatever that it's not FFA but something along those lines. A bunch of other stuff. So I try to balance the idea of me wanting to spend time with her, and we do have like an almost 700-day snap streak too, though. So at least we have communication lines open.
Yeah.
cool.
Um, but it's the fact that I try to balance me wanting to spend time with her, which I do. I love spending time with my kid. Every time I get a chance to, every time she has to play or anything up there, I drive the 300 plus mile trip in a single day. So that's what 5 hours of driving at least,
Makes you a
and
good
then
father.
and then it's 2 hours to sit through a play that even she admits isn't that good. Um, it's still fun to go because you get the entire heartstrings of seeing your kid up on stage, and I'm a theater nerd too, so it's kind of passing the torch. But
See, I'm one of the
spending
lucky ones. I have sole custody of my son, so
yeah,
you know.
spending 5 hours in a single day, well 7 if you count the show. So spending 5 hours driving by yourself just to see your kid for 2, where you don't actually really get to see your kid and talk to her and everything else because she's on stage.
Yep.
So even driving hundreds of miles to see your kid from 20 feet.
Yeah,
So, and it's been this way for 10 years.
Yep.
So when Mrs. Doubtfire comes up, you know why I'm voting against it.
Fair enough.
Okay. Next up, I don't. I don't know if I crossed CJ off on that one or not. So CJ, did you start that last one with a Green Mile and Mrs.
Yeah,
Doubtfire? Or no.
I said Green Mile.
Okay. Yeah, but did you start that one off?
I
Yeah, you did.
think I did.
Okay. So yeah, I got sidetracked on that one. David starts us off on this one. David, is it Galaxy Quest or Princess Bride?
Only because I haven't seen Galaxy Quest, I'll go Princess Bride.
Gets a vote. Again, one of my top 10 movies of all time. It's a movie that we will never be redoing on the recasting call for personal reasons. It gets my vote. CJ, finish us off. Princess Bride or
Princess Bride.
Galaxy Quest?
Princess Bride.
Gets another one, 3-0. It is not an opportunity for a pearl necklace, though, because David voted for Roger Rabbit earlier. Moves on to the final four, though. Last up in the quarterfinals, I start this one off. It is either going to be Back to the Future or Jurassic Park. Either way, it's time travel involved.
Do you really travel in Jurassic Park, though?
They're bringing back dinosaurs. There's enough time travel in that.
That's not time traveling, though. That's more you're just what we're
Fucking
doing
with nature?
Dire wolves and all that.
I say they're literally trying to bring back dinosaurs. Like they're working on woolly mammoth and some fucking sea creature now.
As long as they stick with like things that eat grass, I have no problem with that. It's when they start creating like raptors for war purposes.
Yeah. Like I don't have a problem with the woolly mammoth thing because those weren't gone as far back as people think, but the whole sea creature thing, that's a serious problem for me because you start sticking shit in the sea that don't have natural predators, you end up with fucking Godzilla.
Well, it's that too, and I don't think until you know what's in the sea in general, like 100%,
right.
Like there's the entire question is like where would you much rather be stuck alone at, either in the depth of the ocean or stuck in outer space? And that's a serious question. Most people will say it's like, oh, I would never want to be stuck in outer space. I'm like, I don't think I'd be wanted stuck in the middle of the ocean either.
Yeah. I take outer space in a heartbeat.
I think I don't know. I think like you're on an island, right? Or are you in the water?
You are specifically you are underwater in a vessel by yourself.
Oh shit! Yeah, outer space.
Yeah.
So the same thing with outer space. You are either in space with nobody around you by yourself, or deep in the ocean by yourself in a vessel that you can't really leave.
I mean, especially with the submarine stuff that's happened, recently. No.
I mean, my point is, my justification on this, I'd much rather be in space because they know, at least locally, that there's not really anything around us that would hurt us. At least anything that they've seen. However, in the ocean, there's stuff that they don't know about and stuff that they do know about. And I'm the type of person that if I ever go to Australia, I'm wearing jeans that are duct taped to my freaking socks, and my shoes are gonna be duct taped to my jeans.
I got news for you. I go back to Australia. I'm wearing fucking chainmail from head to toe, man. Like, fuck that place. They have they have flying snakes now, and I'm like, wait, hold up.
Flying snakes?
Flying snakes. Snakes that can fling themselves up to 30 feet.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, look, I'm okay with looking for spiders, looking for shit on the ground. I'm okay looking for pandas. If I'm just walking along and a snake flings itself at me out of a fucking tree, we're gonna have issues, okay? I'm gonna burn the whole fucking country down. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna start at the Gold Coast and just work my way over. Like, I'm gonna burn the whole fucking place to the ground. But
I have I have some Australian friends who don't want to visit the United States because they think we're all gun-toting psychopaths type thing. Which, of course, granted, media does show that. I'm aware of it. And I told them this too. But they are perfectly okay with walking around Australia barefoot.
yeah, you know,
I'm like, dude, I know for a fact that we're not all gun-toting morons here. I know some people who have guns,
right?
but they don't carry them usually. I do have a buddy of mine that carries, but he is one of the most deadly shots that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And if I'm ever in a fucked up situation, I want him next to me because it's going to end. It's going to end quickly, and I'm not going to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. However, I've also seen Discovery Channel,
Yeah.
and apparently there's flying snakes. I don't want to step foot into Australia
Yeah.
unless I'm carrying protection, like an umbrella at least.
Yeah. My uncle is a world renowned underwater photographer, National Geographic, shipwreck recovery expert, blah blah blah. And he has tried for 30 years to get me to go scuba diving with him. And I'm like, no. He's like, why? I was like, there's sharks. And he's like, well, sharks ain't gonna bite you. And I was like, I know they're not gonna bite me. They're not gonna bite me because I'm keeping my fat ass on the
Because
land.
I'm not going to fucking be there.
I'm not gonna be where they can bite me.
Like,
I'm 100% sure they're not biting me because until they grow feet and start walking on Earth like a Marvel movie, I'm pretty fucking safe from a shark bite. I'm, you know,
it's one of the things you can't kill what you can't catch. That's all right. Moving on. Last up in the quarterfinals, which means this is the last time to use your steal a vote or pass the parcel. We either have Jurassic Park or Back to the Future. This is what I started on. I'm going to go with Back to the Future on this one. Uh, CJ.
um, I've already used my pass, so
Well,
um,
yeah, but so there's just three of us. So if you still want to pass, you're more than welcome
yeah,
to.
I'll pass.
David's done it a couple times too. So
I was gonna say I don't really care about either one of these movies.
between Back to the Future and Jurassic Park, it is 98 to 27. And Jurassic Park, sorry, Back to the Future gets that particular vote. David, finish us up.
Back to the Future.
Gets another one. So in the final four, all four movies came in there with sweeps. Back to the Future would have been a pearl necklace if it wasn't for the Breakfast Club getting a single vote. Princess Bride is the same thing with Roger Rabbit getting a single vote. Both of those happen in round two. But as far as that goes, steal a vote for CJ is off the board. It was never used. Um, and of course, pass the parcel is off the board for everybody as well. So, Blown a Loaf is still in play. CJ gets to start us off, and I'm going to ask him this question, starting off with one of these movies. Is it Princess Bride, Back to the Future, uh, Home Alone, or Green Mile?
Let's go Green Mile.
So it is either Green Mile or Back to the Future.
Yeah, it's Green Mile. I never ever want to see a remake.
Green Mile gets a vote. David, Green Mile, Back to the Future.
Green Mile, all the way.
I. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Green Mile just to keep the pearl necklace involved. So Back to the Future moves to third place possibilities. Other side, David starts us off. It's either Home Alone or Princess Bride.
Blow's still open, right?
Blow is still open, yes.
You know what? I want to hear the sound effect. Play it.
That's a major delay on my end. All right, David has decided Blow is loaded on this one. I am definitely going to go for Princess Bride because, again, I've said it 100,000 times. CJ, Home Alone, Princess Bride.
Oh man. You know what? Just to make the finals impossible, we're gonna go Princess Bride.
Gets a vote, David.
uh, I'm gonna go Home Alone only because it's already been remade 3 times, technically. I don't count Lost in New York.
Home Alone moves down to the possibility of third place. Princess Bride moves into the finals with a 2-1 vote. By the way, the only option for a pearl necklace now is actually Green Mile, making it all the way to the finals without a vote against it. Third place, though, I get to start us off. It's either Back to the Future or Home Alone. I'm going to go Back to the Future on this one. I think Home Alone, if done with the right people, which we've had a recast on this one, if done with the right people, could be pretty intriguing. So I think that's a possibility. Back to the Future, though, even with the right people, I don't think would be good. He's just going to tarnish the what Back to the Future has already did. So I'm going to vote for Back to the Future for third place. CJ, Back to the Future, Home Alone.
Mm, yeah, I'm with you. Back to the Future.
Gets the vote. David.
I'll go Back to the Future.
3 and out for third place. Finals. CJ starts us off. This is the last time to blow your load there, sir.
Do it, CJ.
Um, this is really kind of an impossible choice.
I don't think CJ's ever blown his load on this show.
I no, I don't blow my load very often. Being divorced and single, I don't get to blow my load. Uh, um, man, I don't want to see either one of these remade, but I think realistically,
Do you want to know the audience vote? Or at least the numbers?
no.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go like it this way. I think realistically, you could do Green Mile. You would have to do a really sort of wide search and whatnot, but I think it could essentially be done with the right care in the right hands. Whereas Princess Bride, I don't think could really. Again, I don't think you could recapture anything near the magic of what that movie is. Um, so I'm gonna go Green Mile. I don't, or I'm sorry, Princess Bride. I do not want to see remade.
I got you. David, who cannot blow his load in this situation, is it Princess Bride or Green Mile, there, sir?
Green Mile. Green
What
Mile's just, got that charm. I don't want to see that remade. So
I agree with CJ on this one, and there's I can't blow my load uh, because I'm the last one to go. So just because, sorry, I since I can't do it, you don't want to deny me the pleasure.
You can have mine.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
that was for CJ. Actually, so CJ didn't use his either. My other button, by the way, CJ.
Emotional damage.
It's, I love Stephen E.
I don't get to use that one very often though. Um, I'm going to agree with CJ though between the Green Mile and Princess Bride because I think you could recast the Green Mile and do it just fine. The only person I would have trouble with, even going back because we do this once a month, would be Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah.
That'd be the only person. I think Tom Hanks' role would be pretty easy to recast, but finding, with the exception of like finding a big beefy black dude to do it, Vin Ring, sorry, would be a decent shout. But I
No.
think having the kind heartedness that Michael Clark Duncan had is just going to be a personal thing that's going to be really, really hard to do.
Yeah.
So it's plausible.
That's why I said you'd have to cast a wide net and
You'd have to cast a really, really wide net.
approach to it, you know.
So I would, to be perfectly honest, if you change it, I would change it all the way to the point that it's there's going to be so many changes that small changes aren't going to matter type thing anymore. So even having Michael Clark Duncan's character be white,
Yeah.
uh, Alan Richardson, I think would be a cool person to do that. For people who don't know who Alan Richardson is,
Braun Strowman.
no, Braun Strowman can't act. Um,
I don't know.
he can't. He's good. He's good in the ring, but he can't act for shit. Uh, Alan Richardson is the guy that plays Reacher in the Prime Video series. Big beefy fucking dude. Not as big as Michael Hart Duncan is, but still a big beefy motherfucker.
Or Martin Ford.
So,
Martin Ford would be a good one.
I think if you eliminate the race issue, I think there's people that takes it out that could do it, but not a lot of. If you're going for person, because if you eliminate the race issue, it takes away comparison from Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah.
More, so I think that sting is less.
I'm gonna say Nathan Jones too would be a. You know, he's been a Road Warrior and Fearless and.
I agree with that, but Nathan Jones looks mean. Like he does, you need to have like a Gentle Giant type person that the body type is intimidating to fuck.
Movies though, where he sort of played the childish, sort of goofy character though.
Like the Big Show, for instance,
would be very good.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I think there's possibilities in different ways. However, Princess Bride.
Yeah.
I've done fantasy castings on this show, or not on this show, but on just I've done fantasy castings on the Princess Bride that we were just kind of bullshitting around type thing, but never done a serious deep dive into what it would do, and that would be such. It would take me the entire. Like I would have to strip any of the projects that I'm doing,
Yeah.
just as far as the podcast goes, just to focus on that. And I don't want to. That's why when I say if we ever do this recasting call, it's going to be our last show because I'm going to need time to recover. So
To have you on for an episode just to do another. I'm thinking of redoing Princess Bride at some point.
you're doing. I'm not. The only problem with that is that I am a theater nerd, but I am terrible at improv. I
So,
really am.
so why you can't think on the spot like lines and all that?
No, I can't. Well, I have to for this show because there's a time that shit happens that I have to figure out how to get it back on path and everything else. But
Then why don't you come
doing
on
it
yourself?
doing it for a comedy type aspect. I mean, I might be good at it. I don't know, but it's going to be something that I'd have to. It'd be something down the road, and it's going to have to be a character that is that I've worked out in my head enough that I can figure out what I want to do with it. And
Or come on as yourself.
yeah, I could do that too, but be a game show host of some kind.
Bust out the Zorgon mask and bring my Zorgon character out.
Although
Anyway, finishing this show, I'm going to go with the Princess Bride on this one. By the way, points wise, as far as votes goes, the final two in the audience vote was The Princess Bride and Back to the Future. Back to the Future won by one vote by the end, and it was 97 to 98. They were also in the finals together on that one as well. However, at the end of the 24-hour period, which is how votes go, Princess Bride ended up winning their tournament as well. So we actually agree. Green Mile, though, we're talking about points. Green Mile ended up losing in round one to Forrest Gump in the audience vote. So it just kind of depends who's voting. That is our show this week, guys. You can find David at.
hello, you can find me at Dr. PF Jeremiah and his Infernal Roommate podcast on Spotify, Apple, basically every major podcast network known to man. And you can find CJ at.
You can find me at Music God CJ playing .rocks. Pretty much everything I have now points to that. Or if you're looking on YouTube, Music God Reacts or Music God Reviews are the two channels that you will find all my chaos.
And of course, I am your host, Freddie Fisher. You can find me at that on Facebook. While you're on Facebook, check out Bracketology. Sorry, Bracketology. I'm still making that fucking mistake. Bracket Bastards, the audience vote, where you can vote along with us every single week as we do our shows next week. And it is currently up there. I had to do a different type of format, so I do apologize to people out there who normally vote. But next week in our season 7 starting show. So this is the end of season 6 today, there, guys. So thank you for joining us. Beginning of season 7, episode 180. We are talking about iconic country songs. Everything from, and what I did on this one is that I picked one song from each artist. So there's not multiple Johnny Cash songs in there. There's not multiple Alabama songs in there. There's only one Toby Keith song in there. There's only certain things on this list, and it is a wide range and is very hard question. And growing up country in my own neck of the woods, it is a tough decision, and I can't wait to show it to you guys. On Twitter, I'm at Fisher777. We're all at Bracket Pod. On Instagram, as always, you can find me at Can't Lick Me, not one word. I like to leave every single show with a quote. Today's quote comes from Jim Ron. He is a writer and a motivational speaker. He says,
1 or 2.
"Your life does not get better by chance. It gets better with change." That is our show this week, guys. Have a good one.